All right, and we are live. Hey, everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, just sitting here drinking my morning coffee. Getting sexy as hell as usual, and getting ready to squat. It's going to be a bit once I'm up and awake, ready to squat. Got a really deep sleep last night. I'm having to sleep, definitely having to sleep more. One of the things I'm noticing uh, for me, pretty much right now, not having anything in my system really, just TRT, so being pretty much natty bra. Definitely, I need more sleep. Like I'm sleeping more. I probably need an extra hour of sleep. Just something I've noticed. But yeah, all going good. Let's check the volume here. Check the volume here. Okay, we're good. We're good. So yeah, when I say full natty bra, I mean TRT. And no, that doesn't mean 500. Means pretty much 125 from a doctor. All right. So I feel like I can make gains there. I got muscle memory trainings dialed in. I train hard. Protein's crazy high. We're good. So see who we get in here this morning. That could be worth its own topics, but I feel like there's other stuff going on for lives. Because at the end of the day, man, dudes, you have to cruise sometimes, right? You got to cruise. And so far, I'm maintaining strength really well. Maintaining strength super well, actually. 325. Pause bench for triple, hit a 500 squat, 550 deadlift for 4. We're good. We're good. I'm a lot more chill, though. I'm noticing I'm mellowing out a lot. All right, guys. So let's see what we get in here. These fill up. Yesterday, it filled up kind of quick. We had a lot of people in here real fast. 217 this morning on the scale. So, yeah, hoping for a good squat. I'm debating if I want to do a single or if I want to try to grab a top set and try to just grab some reps with a really heavy weight, like 450, 460. I was really happy with just a straight 500 last week, and it wasn't a max. So I almost feel like, let's see if we can build a little muscle off the squatting, try to do a bit of a volume set and build off of there. Kind of like I do on my bench and my deadlift. Might be the way we go today. I've been doing nothing but singles on the main squat for a while now. All right. And I feel like I got my other leg volume dialed in. So it's like if I can gain a little more quad, a little more glute, get that squat up. Because the goal, I want to hit a 550. All right, I want to get a 550 raw squat. Like they would pass in comp. Okay, we're a little slow here this morning. We'll give it a minute to warm up. Give it a little time to warm up, get flowing. I think I've had a couple of these where we have like 30 people within 5 minutes. Today we got 4. Nobody's commenting yet. It's Friday though. What are you people up to? What are you people up to? Nothing yet. I think it takes it a minute to get into people's streams. Let me come over and check some other stuff for a minute. All right. Making posts on Facebook. I don't get this whole beef tallow thing. Why everyone wants to go to beef tallow for cooking food, and why don't we not fry food at all? How about we just not fry food and added fat? I mean, that would make a lot more sense. Because even the issue with seed oils, people argue this nonsense about them being inflammatory. They're not. There's no data to support that. None, zero. In fact, it's the opposite. But they're empty fat calories that make you fat. Right? They really are just empty, easy to overconsume calories. So you're going to get fat from too many seed oils. They're not inflammatory though. But being fat's not healthy. P327 says, have you seen the TV show BoJack Horseman? I haven't had time for TV lately, but no, I've never even heard of the show, let alone seen it. I don't even know what genre of shows this is. I have no clue. None at all. Maybe you could drop me a hint. Because it seems kind of random. Have you seen this show? Is it like about powerlifters or something? Just saying. I mean, since you're bringing it up on my channel, I'm assuming it's about lifting or something, or an athletic department with a weight room involved. Like there's people lifting weights in this show. It's very good. Okay. Yeah, dude, I really don't have time just because someone tells me the show's good. No offense intended, but if I stopped and took time to watch every show that someone told me is good or movie, I would be homeless because I couldn't run my business. I wouldn't have time to work out. In a recent video, Alex Farmer, Alpha Destiny, said that one hard set 3 times a week is more hypertrophy than doing 3 sets once a week. I'm going to flat disagree. I totally understand his logic, and I do know the studies people have tried to point to for this. There's also been studies on the opposite, so you can't use research for that. Now, I think doing multiple sets in a week in a single workout is going to be more hypertrophic. It's very hard to get any stimulus off of a single set. Like, how hard of a set are we talking about here? I mean, if you talk about an all-out set of deadlifts with a crazy heavy weight, maybe. Talking about a smaller exercise, unlikely to get a whole lot from a single set. You're unlikely to grow at all. And the problem is minimum threshold effective reps. You're pushing it. Studies have not been kind to single set training causing muscle growth. And the issue is you do need a certain amount of fatigue inside of a set workout to really break a certain threshold. Just throwing that out there. I'm going to put that down at a minimum of 3, probably close to. One hard set. Yeah, I mean, he can say that all he wants. I don't think there's evidence to support that. And no one has ever struggled to get massive off of training a muscle once a week. Not exactly been a problem historically. And that's been the whole problem with the attack and the bro split thing. It's something I changed my mind on years ago, and I've concluded eventually there's no advantage to the frequency. I'm just not seeing it in the scientific literature or in the real world, to be honest. I find it's almost nothing but beating people up. That's all it does. It's my opinion, And I have clients making great gains, drug-free clients who do push-pull legs 3 days a week at this point, and they're doing just fine. They're doing just fine. A couple of my vloggers do that, right? You got 3 vloggers now, which has been working phenomenally well. So since putting up the vlogs, yeah, I've been getting client applications. Picked up 2 new clients already. Another one doing his intake tomorrow, already paid for it. Another application that wrote one hasn't got back to me, so it's going good. By the way, guys, I'm still running reduced rates. If you guys want that, it's going to go up soon at this point. Mike Israetel has said multiple times that frequency is less important than total volume. I tend to agree, but I think even volume past a certain point has enormous diminished returns, and we get over to the recovery side, Like even most of my aesthetic clients who are chasing aesthetics, we don't use huge amounts of volume for anything but their delts right now. I don't find it's necessary unless they have a weak point. So people are like, what about your biceps? My biceps are weak link. That's it. So yeah. because not all my people care about strength. It's been interesting out of people who rotated in. One of them's a client who came back from years ago. He doesn't even care about strength that much. He just wants a look. Strength is a means to an end. I mean, he wants bigger lifts. And then I have another who only cares about athletic performance, but looks phenomenal because he's like 9% body fat. Does 2 combat sports. It's interesting. Yeah, no, I mean, I lean in that direction of honestly 6 to 10 for a lot of people can be really, really great without beating you up. No recovery issues. 10 to 20 sets if you're optimized, right? Full optimization, perfect lifestyle. Some people can do the 10 to 20 set range, and that's going to be closer to optimal. But I think 6 to 9, 6 to 10, and a little more for your weak points works great. For anyone who may not have completely perfect recovery. But we also keep injury rates a little lower there too, because there's almost no chance of overuse. All right. But, again, point of diminished returns on the volume also. And that's what people have to remember. That's what people have to remember too. SP, man, it is slow in here. There's like nobody. There's 10 people, only 2 people commenting. It's a slow breakfast chat. Sorry, coffee chat. I'm not fully awake, by the way, guys. I'm still waking up. Still waking up. But if you guys get me flowing, get some good comments going. SP, are you following me on Facebook, bro? Give me a follow there. It'd be appreciated. I had someone post something here. All right. Sorry, I was answering a Facebook question since no one's commented in here. I'll type back to people on Facebook. All right. Man, I don't know if I'm going to run this one much longer. There's nobody in it. The one yesterday, I ran it for 50 minutes because I had like 30, 40 people dropping questions. Today, it's a little slow in here. A little bit slow. Maybe because I'm talking slow. I'm not keeping everybody fired up. I'm not in the mood for that, guys. I'm being more chill right now. Being chill. Save some of that for, it's dropped down to like no viewers. Almost no point in keeping the coffee chat going. I'll give it a few more minutes and see if we pick up. But yeah, squat day. We're going to squat today. Squat legs. I'll just do 4 exercises on my leg day. We're good. Do back squat, belt squat, leg extension, calf raises. I like doing the calf raises crazy heavy. And I know it pisses people off. They're like, you're not good at a structural, never get big calves. People always tell me I don't know how to train my calves. You know what I mean, guys? I'm never going to get big calves. Never, ever, ever, ever. Just doing half reps with 500 pounds. Okay, guys. I like that, though. I like just throwing the 500 pounds on the bar and just standing up and doing toe raises with it for like sets of 9 or 10 till they burn. And people cannot like it all they want. I've seen no evidence that we need that deep stretch on the calves. I don't think it's necessary. Not even how people built their calves walking up mountains. People who genetically even have the big calves. It's not from that movement pattern. I think it's mostly tendon. I think it's your Achilles tendon being stretched for the most part when people do a lot of that stuff. My calves blew up from sled work even, which is not that stretch happening. Not really. So if my calves grow from squats and they grow from sled work, then I think they're going to keep growing from what I do, just loading them really heavy. and it seems to work. I think my calves have gotten bigger. Again, we can disagree, but I would also say you don't have any evidence to the contrary either. I can use anecdote all I want, and if you don't have studies to contradict it, and we really don't, then again, we're just arguing theory. So in that case, all you have is anecdote. Then again, everyone tells me I don't know how to train my lats either. And then people are like, you're a massive lats. You got a giant V taper. And then in all my comments, every single back exercise I do, all the reels, all the time, it's people telling me I don't know how to train my lats nonstop. It doesn't matter what the exercise is, barbell row, dumbbell row, pull up. Yet I've got a great back. Are calves important for athletic performance like jumping? Yeah, potentially. I don't know about jumping because a lot of people with bad calf genetics are amazing jumpers. So I don't know that I mean, they are, but they aren't. They can be for certain athletic endeavors, anything where you have to drag or pull. I'm going to get out on a limb and say maybe NFL and stuff. Yeah, because the way you have to push people, calves are going to matter. You probably want pretty big calves. You're going to be a lineman. So it's going to depend on what you're doing. I think for jumping, not so much. I think jumping is more issue of other muscles, quads, glutes, hip extensors, and realistically just being fast twitch fiber dominant. Like that's going to be genetics. Like a vertical leap is mostly genetic, honestly. Problem I have with my really big calves are certain types of cardio I can't handle. Like I've tried to do stair steppers with my giant calves. I can't. Like within 3 minutes, my calves are cramping so hard I have to quit. Plans for today, I'm going to squat. That's what I'm going to do. Since egg whites are pasteurized, can we drink them uncooked? In theory, Jefferson. Now, what I don't know and we don't have good research on is does it increase the bioavailability like cooking does? I mean, since they're not technically raw, I've not been able to find an answer to that one, Jefferson, in the actual literature. As far as the bioavailability. So you may be losing some protein by drinking them raw. I don't know. And I've not been able to get a clear answer as to whether that denaturing that you want to happen from the cooking happens from the pasteurization. I've not been able to find a clear answer, unfortunately. I looked this up a few years ago. I was trying to literally find the answer to this and I couldn't. Adam, I don't know. I think I might just do a top set for reps. I'll play it by feel, but I've been doing nothing but singles for a couple months, really. So I think I want to start doing a little bit of AMRAP work for a top set, like I do my bench and my deadlift. Because, man, those deadlifts feel good. Like the stimulus is phenomenal. When I do a 550 and take it to, no reps in reserve on that deadlift, it works great. Yeah, I don't think I need to go over 500 at all for a bit, Adam. Work on quality with the 500 or do reps with a little under 500 and just build it up. Jason, if we have a stretch reflex at squat to help the concentric and deadlift starts from the dead stuff, why do most people still can deadlift more weight than a squat? Leverages, more muscles involved, the angles. So from a squat perspective, look at the involvement of the quad. It is only you're only moving it 50% or less of its range of motion. It's like a partial for the quad, right? So you're going to move a lot more weight. Then you have the involvement of other muscles. So you don't have any muscles put into as deep of a lengthened position as you do on the squat. It's also why the squat will build slightly more muscle. My opinion. Do you find that the more built someone's upper back is, the wider they need to grip for the squat? It seems like a little guys are super narrow. I think that's common, Jefferson. I'm not saying that's universally true, by the way, but there's certainly a degree of truth to that. Do you think Michael Hearn has the most complete physique? I don't know about complete, but any guy over 40, I don't think anyone's competing with Mike. I mean, that really is goals. Plus, the dude is strong, you know. Guy has a phenomenal physique, and you're talking about a 50-year-old man doing incline benches with 405. I'm just saying. That's all you can say about it. So I tell people, you can dislike Mike's scam artistry, right? The fake natty thing, the garbage products he's pushed. But if you set that stuff aside, the knowledge is there. And I think people struggle with that sometimes. They can't seem to get their head around. You can dislike something someone does and still acknowledge the knowledge and what they bring to the table. People are not able to compartmentalize their emotions when assessing things. But I think people forget too, Mike comes from a generation where everyone lied and exaggerated. And I think people who are newer to the bodybuilding world forget that. They forget that bodybuilding was all about who could tell the biggest lies. Yeah, he said he was going to slap me and that didn't go well. He didn't like my response because I had to talk to the gym owner about it. And I was like, I'll shoot his ass. Sorry, I shouldn't be saying that in here. That's how the conversation went. Because I was always strapped at the gym. Yeah, seriously, no one should care what vegan gains thinks at all. All right. Right. I mean, no one should care what vegan gains thinks whatsoever. He is a mentally ill sociopath. Right. Who all he does is call out and challenge people to fights and pick fights. I mean, generally with no point to any of it. Like, no, he doesn't even make points. It's like a rabid dog. And I don't think he's even serious with most of it. He really isn't. Why do a lot of big squatters keep their heads looking up instead of with a neutral neck, particularly guys who squat in wraps? Well, wraps and suits is its own game. Why does anyone care? Yeah, exactly. How many clients you got in this rotation? I don't have the exact count ready. Plus, I don't like to generally reveal that, Adam. I would like to have a lot more. At least I'd like to pick up at least 3 more this month. Hey, Dale. And because you guys continue to give him attention for it, he'll never quit doing it because people still want to talk about it. So you're part of the problem. I'm not being a dick. I'm just saying you are part of the problem. Do you think Rogue Scout Reverse Hyper is worth buying for a home gym? It's not great. And I've had clients who had it. It's better than no reverse hyper. So for people who do not have the space for a full reverse hyper, it's great. Because I don't think people realize how big. I had a client, a younger client, and I tried to tell him the reverse hyper was massive and he's going to put it in his bedroom. I'm like, I don't think you understand how big it is. And he got one and he freaked out. Like your reverse hyper is going to take up as much space as a full power rack will, at least. Have you ever tried nucleus overload? I hate, here we go, Greg. You're going to get a rant from me. I hate that name with an absolute passion. I hate that name with an absolute passion. It is so stupid. And I can't stand Megan. Megan has always been an ass clown. And I told him that 12 years ago when he was calling it overtraining. I'm just like, Megan, you were such an ass clown. And I called him on it. 12 years ago, I was in videos clowning him over this stuff. So can we not use dumbass names like nucleus overload? Can you just say, have you tried training a muscle at 7 days a week? I don't recommend you do it. Squat builds more muscle now, I remember. And that is that one study. Okay. An EMG study can't show hypertrophy, Leo. You're confusing some studies. Yeah, we had that one study, but here's the thing. It was all upper body, right? The study was too short-term to see leg growth, so that was the interesting thing. I mean, it was an interesting study, but the reason I cited that study is because people try to say the deadlift isn't great for hypertrophy. But if we're going to come to shove, I mean, compare yourself, Leo. If you think I'm wrong, do squats and then cut them out and replace it with deadlift and watch how your quad shrink. Mine did. I went a year and a half without squatting, and I continued to deadlift really heavy with rep work in the 500s, right? Remember when I did that? I went 18 months without doing any quad work or squats. I said, I'm not squatting anymore. I'm not going to power lift. I know that I blew back up into the 500s on my squat after. But I went 18 months without doing a single squat, leg press, or quad exercise, just deadlifts. My quads got smaller, visibly. Jason, your thoughts on German volume training? No, I don't like German volume training. There's no reason to think it's good. Who would win in a bench squat dead comp between you? I have no idea what Jay Masters lifts. And are we talking total? Isn't he a lot heavier than me? And doesn't he use knee wraps or something? So I would assume, since the guy, last time I looked, he outweighs me by like 60 pounds or something. And he wore knee wraps. If he can't beat me on total, that's a problem. That would be embarrassing on his part. Right? That would be embarrassing. But I don't know what he lifts. Now, are we talking about, are we going to run it off a dot score? Keeping in mind, I walk around at 217. I've done cuts down to the 198 really easy. So I don't know, are we doing weight and age class? Jason, is it true? Is it true? Yes. Why wouldn't size matter? Well, Dale, I would say there's a point where size will overcome skill, size, and strength at a certain point. Fighting skill is about physics and technique. Okay, fighters do not have mystical, magical Qui-Gon powers where they knock people out with their chi, and I think people forget that. So if you take some of these amazing MMA fighters and watch what they do, they're great at physics. They are great at knowing how to use their leverages as force multipliers. Okay, they know how to grab stuff at an angle to where if two people are of equal strength, they can produce double the force. Make sense? But it's like I have a friend who, his name's Tyson. We chat on Facebook for years and years and years, and he follows some of my stuff. He coaches a couple. He's a personal trainer, also around 50 years old. He's been doing this for decades, travels the world. He trains multiple styles of martial arts. And something he kind of pointed out, he goes, yeah, and that is well and good. He goes, but when you try to grapple, like I've had that happen before where we had a power lifter come in and we were working some stuff. And he goes, and when he has a 900-pound squat and his traps are so big that you can't get anything around his neck, it's like you can't do anything to him. It's like your skill just goes away. He's like, you can't put him into positions to pull him. You can't choke him out. He's like, so it's like, he goes, at that point, all my skill kind of becomes useless when the 900-pound deadlifter with traps all the way up to here, you can't get him into any of these positions. He's like, you might as well be trying to grapple a bull. So yes, there's a threshold to where your skill is just simply not going to matter. And I think that's the point. If you're a 160-pound martial artist and you literally have a 300-pound power lifter who squats and deadlifts 900 pounds and you literally can't get to his neck, it's kind of hard to fight him. Not saying impossible, but I mean, therein lay the problem. And I've heard this directly in a conversation from someone who this is what they do, right? They're a personal trainer who trains multiple styles of martial arts for over 30 years. And they're just like, yeah, there's a threshold to where it just becomes, but why do they need cardio? Dale, if the fight is over in 30 seconds, does cardio matter? Okay. Do you see the point? So you try to grapple this big guy and he grabs you and just twists, and you weigh $150. Is your cardio going to help at that point? Once he's pulled your arm out of the socket, what good does your cardio do? Or when that guy, when he gets a hold of you and grabs you and just drops you, he just slams you on the floor because he doesn't with the minimal skill. So there's a threshold to where, yeah, it becomes irrelevant. So it's like, Dale, it's the same point I would make. How do you think you would do in a martial arts ring against a bull? It has no martial arts training. Are you going to put it into submission? I mean, and that's kind of the point. So yeah, there's obviously a threshold to where your skill becomes largely irrelevant. Yeah, Jefferson's right. You can put him into a point where he blacks out, but you got to get him into the right place. And there comes a point where if the person has so much muscle and strength at a certain threshold, you're just not putting them into those positions. So again, we're talking extreme cases. Testicular tactics or assisted pull-ups. Okay, if you're not strong enough to do regular pull-ups, and yes, I recommend you do the reverse band. I think the machines are garbage. I've been doing push-pull legs 2 times a week for almost 8 weeks now, and it's worked awesome in terms of keeping muscles looking full, but the joints can't take it going back to 4-day. The Vino, I would agree. Push-pull legs twice a week is really hard, especially if you're moving any respectable weight. It's hard on the joints. When squatting, does stretch reflex only work when we don't pause at the bottom? What if we pause for you'll lose the stretch reflex. Well, you would know more. The weight classes exist for a reason. Because there was a light. So how did that go between McGregor and Thor? All right. Yeah, true, Jefferson. He's talking about getting an actual serious myotatic reflex. It's going to be reduced from the pause. Pause squats are great, though, for learning positional stability, though, right? I think pause squatting can be phenomenal for people who struggle with maintaining a tight position at the bottom of your squat, generating power out of the bottom. I think pause squats are a fantastic tool. Do you prescribe 2 sets in a workout for a muscle group in your clients, or mostly 3? Mostly 3. Sometimes on a secondary exercise, we might only do 2. Striking is so different from grappling. Dale in a striking match with referee intervals. Connor beats Eddie Hall. Yeah, if he can't grapple him. I mean, but as soon as Eddie Hall can put his hands on him and squeeze, or just give him a nice little bear hug, it's over. Again, the guy's 160 pounds. What's he going to do at that point? Right. In an exhibition with no rules, a bigger guy will beat the bigger striker. Right. Because again, martial artists don't have magical powers to throw balls of chi energy at you. They're not wizards. They rely upon the laws of physics. And a good martial artist is amazingly good at manipulating leverages to his advantage and using physics to his advantage. They're experts at it. They're complete masters at it, like a truly good martial artist is. And that's an amazing skill, but it's not magic. Right? Again, they're not Hadouken and the magic ball of chi flies out and hits you. People play too many video games. They watch too many movies. Right? His amazing skill to focus a ball of chi. Well, that's not real, guys. They have to work within the laws of physics and biology. The problem is, let's say the no skill guy actually though gets hurt worse. The big strong guy is also likely to hurt himself. Potato flopping around on top of that. while hurting the other guy. You know, make that case. All right. Maybe that's why so many young guys get into martial arts, alluded by Phil's, thinking they can attain some sacred power. I don't know what you mean by Phil's. Maybe, or they just want to do martial arts, or they were inspired by various movies and popular culture. I don't think it's a bad thing, though. I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing for young men to get involved in martial arts at all. So I want to be clear on that. I'm just saying martial artists don't have magical powers. Yeah, Eddie gets a hold of him. I mean, it's over. And it's simply put, Conor McGregor doesn't have the skeletal structure to handle this. Yeah, films like Bruce Lee. And Bruce Lee was a great entertainer. I mean, he changed our culture tremendously. Cliff, hi, Jay. Hello, Cliff. Connor hopped up on Cola. I don't know about Eddie Hall, though. Again, talking 400-pound Eddie doing a 500-kilo deadlift Eddie. I don't know. Like, what's he going to do? Were you inspired? Probably. I liked Bruce Lee movies as a kid, but if you're asking me if I was inspired, I literally can't remember. No, I don't overhead press anymore because I don't have the range of motion to lock it. And I don't think people have the ability to fix that, because I've had multiple fans who have messaged me over the last couple of years, multiple of them who they are clearly physical therapists in their Facebook profiles and stuff, sports physios, and they send me exercises and advice, and none of it does anything. It's all completely useless. It does nothing for my shoulder range of motion. They're like, try this, and I literally can't do it. Like, you probably won't be able to quite reach the floor with this. I'm like 30 inches from the floor. I'm going to say, yeah, that's not quite, try holding it for 10 seconds. It's just, and I've got a lot of those, and none of it does anything. It's completely useless. So I just do my hangs and hope for the best. Middle-aged, intermediate, I'm starting a new job with a very long drive. I can only commit to 1 time per week training for the next 2 to 3 months. Should I focus on your big 6? Yeah, that's what I would do. Focus on those big 6, big 5. Honestly, Cliff, I would say squat, bench, deadlifts, pull-ups, curls, you'll be fine. You'll be good. Brock Lesnar had a stint in UFC. As you know, how dangerous do you think he would be, Jason, against an average man in a street fight? Obviously, he would win. All right. Bruce Lee was a great martial artist, right? I don't know if he was a great fighter, though. I mean, he was an entertainer and a philosopher. Drop the overpress and make it a big 5. Yeah, you'll be fine with those, Cliff. Like, at least you'll make some progress there. Just focus on those 5. I remember watching a Shaolin monk in UFC. It was embarrassing. Yeah. Well, I mean, because again, you're taking a lot of traditions and an art, and then you're talking a modern sport to where we've analyzed stuff and combine things and use a lot of sports knowledge. So it's a competitive environment. It's going to be totally different. All right. Was Bruce Lee natty? Unlikely. Extremely unlikely. It was always said that Bruce Lee used steroids, and there were some people who said he was somewhat open about it. Keeping in mind, he pushed the limits of everything all the time. He was okay with drugs for performance, and look at the era he was in and who he was surrounded by. He was surrounded by steroid users. And there was no stigma against steroids, and they were not even illegal. I train my neck once a week if I do it. I didn't do it this week. I did shrugs though, close enough. I did my shrugs with 275 yesterday with no straps. So I felt like doing that. I didn't feel like training neck this week. I might pick it back up next week. But Jefferson's right. There was no stigma. Like that was a modern thing. The whole stigma against anabolics came out because of the Cold War and the Russians. And it was a completely political position. And then later it was political again in the 90s with the whole baseball thing and Joe Biden leading the charge. For those who are unaware, Joe Biden was the #1 politician in the U.S. who really pushed a hammer down on steroids. If you were unaware, he led the charge. He is the guy. So the entire steroid act that changed their legal status again, the person who drafted it and the top signature was Senator Joe Biden. And he said that it needed to be done to preserve the sanctity of baseball, the great American pastime. Was the reason. I'm dead serious though, Jefferson. Look it up. Go read the steroid act from the 90s, and the signature and the primary person who drafted it was Joe Biden. And he got do you remember his speech? I saw the speech like on CNN. He got up and gave like a passionate 30-minute discussion upon the sanctity of baseball and why steroids needed to be further hammered down on and criminalized further in order to preserve the great American pastime that he loved so deeply. Dale, what do you mean? Dale, go do some research on Bruce Lee. You can find all his workouts. He wrote them down. If you want to see what Bruce Lee's workouts look like, he wrote them out and they've been published for decades and decades. This is not, there's no opinion needed. You can go look it up. It was all free weights, obviously. Red Law seems especially gay when you consider baseball is no longer the national pastime like it was, right? Yep. Yep. So yeah, that was the whole act. Peppermint. Joe Biden wasn't involved. Joe Biden was in charge. Okay, let me state that again. He drafted the actual bill. He wrote it. That's like saying Thomas Jefferson was involved with the Declaration of Independence. A little bit. Yeah, no, Joe drafted the bill. He was the primary senator on it, and he gave a speech that I heard at the time. I watched it. I watched the actual speech because we spent like 8 days of our Senate on C-SPAN, 8 whole days of our Senate. An entire 8 sessions was spent discussing steroids in baseball in the 90s. 8 full days of your tax dollars in the Senate. That's all they talked about. Not taxes, not war, not fixing the economy. They spent 8 days discussing steroids in baseball. All right. Why does the second stage of the starting strength? I don't know. You would have to ask Mark Ripito. I'm not Mark Ripito. I didn't write his program. You think because of my limited training volume over the next couple months, I can go to a slow cut? I might consider. Are you fat, Cliff? There's a kind of important part to ask here. That's an important consideration. All right. So, yeah, I haven't read the Blue Book in years. I have it. I have it somewhere. One of my exes stole one of my copies of it. I don't know if I rebought it. Let's see. I don't remember if I got another copy or not. Yeah, one of my exes stole it. She wanted it. When we broke up, she took it. Oh gosh, women. How do you guys like that when your girl literally steals a copy of your Starting Straight when you break up? I will tell you though, man, dating a girl on Anavar, you guys should try it. Be pounding the punani an hour a day. Got to take the good shit on the way out, right? A lot of physical journals are peer reviewed by many of the same people over and over, right? Your vascular is crazy at every morning. Thank you, Vino. Vino, you know what's crazy? Do you want to know what I'm on right now? My whole stack. Are you ready? 125 tests from my doctor every week. Dude, right now. I'm literally just on a replacement dose. Yep. Doing the true TRT for a little while. I want to get my health markers on point. Do you think this leads to bias, good old boys club type of vibe and dilutes the scientific validity of the field? I think it does, absolutely, especially in exercise science. Thanks for answering the question. So you're not in agreement with the people who say the boxer or motivator can beat up the bodybuilder? No, you're trying to put me into a box on an answer. Oh, no matter the size? No, the size matters. Size matters. If you don't think size matters, the girl's lying to you to make you feel better. All right. Really fine-tuned for terms of this is way worse health markers. It's not that it's way worse, Jefferson. It's not significant. It's that I'm also 48, and I'd like to spend a while in the normal range. Like 125 puts me way up there, dude. Like 125 puts me at like 700 nanograms deciliter. Like, I mean, I'm still good to pound pussy for an hour on that. What's your body fat now, coach? I'm not sure. I'm going to guess. I think 14. Let's go with 14%. I mean, I set a 500 squat on it though. I pulled 550 for 4 this week. I think I'm doing okay there. I think I'll make gains. I do once a week, Cliff. Yeah. But yeah, I want to keep my health markers. I want to get everything really pretty. Yes, I'm familiar with Ms. Pozanowski. Yeah, Dale. I mean, size. I mean, when there's a large size and strength discrepancy, the larger it gets, the harder the skill, the higher the skill level has to be. And there's a point where it's not going to matter. No, Cliff. I usually do everything on the same day. Last day. Well, I mean, Dale, we know how dangerous a powerlifter can be when they get 3 months of training. Have we not observed this already? That's not something that's only happened in the last 5 years. Okay. You remember when Chad Wesley Smith, with his 900-pound squat, decided to try BJJ out? He had 12 weeks of training. Like 12 weeks into learning BJJ, he started winning competitions. 12 weeks. Why? Because he squats 900 pounds. What happens when a guy who squats 900 pounds gets 12 weeks of BJJ training at the local YMCA or whatever? I mean, I'm sure he had a great coach, but you see where I'm going with this? Oh, now he knows a few things. That's now a scary man. Okay. Just saying, 900-pound squatter goes and gets 12 weeks of training. Ooh. To my earlier question, you think because of my limited training over the next couple of months? 7, man, you could consider a very, very, very slow cut, but I'd be careful because you don't want to lose muscle during that time either. I can't imagine being squeezing a leg submission by a dude that squats 900 pounds, right? Who's now been shown how to do the technique. And it's actually had several weeks of practicing it against with a skilled instructor. Yeah, you don't want that. A small guy spitting some 308 spin is far more dangerous than any train. I like the 308 more mainly because of the shorter action personally. Jason, your thoughts on the former Navy SEAL ultra marathoner David Goggins and message don't stop. Yeah, David Goggins gets injured and he's going to get you hurt. What is it all the coaches say? Don't take fitness advice from former Navy SEALs. Don't do it. Don't do it. This is not a good source of fitness or training advice. Okay. You hire a strength coach if you want to get strong. You hire a running coach if you want to be a better runner. You hire a former Navy SEAL when you want to take over a small third world country. See how that works? Now, if I needed to take over a village somewhere and build an insurgency, I would go to David Goggins in a heartbeat. I'm sure he'd be the man you want. Same thing with Jocko. Dude, either one of those guys, man. You need to go take over several villages in a third world country. Dude, those guys, that's your man right there, either one of them. Teaching you how to get strong and fit and uninjured, probably not. Learning martial arts for protecting instead of learning to shoot and carry as simple as there. I agree. We should all carry. I carry. I carry Glock 19 everywhere. Man, that's my minimum. That is my minimum. Sometimes I use more than that. But for me, minimum firepower for leaving the house for me personally is usually a Glock 19, usually with 2 extra mags and a fixed blade for backup is kind of my standard. Just go to the grocery store. I usually do federal HST, but I do keep 1 mag out of there of like the polymer filled ones. Like you have like some critical duty from Hornady just in case I need to get through auto glass out and about a little easier. Quick answer, not a fan of Goggins. How many say he overtrained and not overly happy with his luck? Probably a lot. But keep in mind the mindset of those guys. Okay, he doesn't think like a normal person. In Texas, do people who don't carry, like I can tell you right now in my circles of friends, dudes who don't carry, we think there's something wrong with them. And I've had people that kind of say that it's like there's probably a mental illness or something happening, like a grown man who says, "Oh, I would never." Why? Because you ask them deeper. I've heard someone give an answer like, "Well, I psychologically don't trust myself to." Okay, so you're mentally ill. It's like Yeah, exactly. And that's the point, Jefferson. I get it with more women. I know a lot of women who choose not to carry. And that's fine. But with a man who's older than, I get it if they're really young still too. But usually for me, if I meet a man who's 25 or older, like in Texas, and they never carry, I usually think there's something wrong with them. Yeah, that's generally how, and my friends are all the same way. It's like, or do you have a serious criminal record? Are you mentally ill? Do you not take your basic obligations seriously as a citizen? Jefferson, I get that and I agree and I encourage that. I have taught at least 5 women to shoot and help them pick their first handgun over the years, actually. I'm a big advocate for that. It's exactly for the reason, the force multiplier. I mean, there would be no such thing as rape anymore. That would go away. I mean, that would end that problem. You know, why would they pack a MAC-10? Do you think that that is an appropriate carry piece? Do you think that the gun laws involving felons I think that it is, actually. Yeah. If a person is too dangerous to carry, they're too dangerous to be on the street. That is my thing. If a person is too dangerous to the public to be allowed to carry, that person has no business being in public. They should be locked up in a cage or in a mental institution. That's it. And I think that's a very, very true statement. So any person who tells me, oh, I'm too deranged to carry, well, then your ass needs to be in a cell somewhere because you shouldn't be around other humans. Why are you that violent and unstable? But yeah, I agree with that. Are they a citizen or not? Did they do their time, or have they been rehabilitated from their crime? If they haven't been rehabilitated, why are they out of prison? No, I'm not going to give my thoughts on the death penalty here. I think convicted pedophiles should be added to the list of qualifiers. Says me. Just my opinion. I think we could expand the list a little bit. So, I mean, we could set a number on it and we could say, like, maybe if the victim was under 13 or something, then we'll count that as, right? Because you can't just say, well, if they were underage, because I'm going to execute some guy because an 18-year-old guy slept with a 17-year-old girlfriend. But I think it's fair to say, if their victim was under 13, I think that should be automatic on that list too, in my opinion. So that kind of tells you how I feel about capital punishment. Real men don't fight, they only protect. I agree with that. Real men fight. Real men don't fight. I agree with Jefferson. Real men don't go out and get in fights. Little boys get in fights. Men don't need to go get in fights. That's why I roll my eyes when people say, "Who would run in a fort?" It's like, that's a mindset of a child. Like, you always watch too much anime. You don't live in the real world. Do you think inmates should have access to weights to train with? I think everyone should have access to weights to train with. Do we need to be supplying them with a bunch of expensive stuff? No. We could have people who donate weights. I think if gyms want to donate their used weights or whatever, I think they should have access. I think it could help with the rehabilitation process. I think it's a healthy outlet. So this is a whole nother topic. I don't agree with our current criminal justice system, the way it operates. What is the purpose of prisons? Like, why do we need a criminal justice system? Is it there to punish or is it there to protect society? Now, I would argue certain things of capital punishment of war for people who are so beyond the ability to keep society safe from them that the risk of them getting out of prison is too high. So like the convicted pedophile, what if they escape from prison? So it's better to just get rid of them. But generally, we should be rehabilitating people. We should be rehabilitating people. And if our criminal justice is there to punish and not rehabilitate and make people functional members of society again, it's a waste. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of money. Like, if you're going to punish people who are broken, there's no point in that. You work on fixing them. Because again, what are we trying to do? We want them to be safe to put into society, not you do 6 years and then you're right back out dangerous again. That's not helping anybody. So I think our whole system needs to be reformed. Instead of penalties of you do X years, no, you stay until you're rehabilitated. If they have no education, give them an education. If they have a violence problem, give them therapy. They have an addiction problem, detox them. Okay? Your goal should be to get those people to be productive, valuable members of society again. And if you can't make them a productive member of society again, you don't let them out. If that person is too dangerous, like for example, if they cannot be rehabilitated, like for example, we know a convicted pedophile, like if they've offended, they're almost unrehabilitatable ever. Like you can't, they're always dangerous. Once they've crossed the line with their urges, it's the rehabilitation is like zero. It's like a zero rate. You can never let those people out of prison. Since they're unrehabilitatable. You know, the guy who chopped up 3 people, he's probably unrehabilitatable. So again, we have this weird idea of a punishment and a time instead of saying, look, you have them in there till they're fixed. And if they can't be fixed, you don't put them on the street. So you fix the criminal justice system, then we don't have to have any discussions of the Second Amendment there. You don't have to have background checks, nothing, because either a person is safe or not. Ruben, because you have to have exact numbers in place. So Ruben, here's my question. So if some high school seniors, if an 18-year-old sleeps with their 17-year-old partner, do you think they should be executed? See the issue. That's why we have to be reasonable with this. Now, if they're over 13, should the person probably go to prison and be rehabilitated? Sure, of course. Should still be illegal. I'm not saying we need to give them the electric chair. Yeah. So that's where I would say, but definitely, and 13 is set. So here's what I would say, Ruben. If you look at the laws the way they're written, isn't that already part of it? Meaning, so where I live, because I did take a semester of Texas criminal law, I got 100 in it. Okay, so with the laws like that, you realize they're already set into age brackets already. You know that, right? It is not the same criminal offense. It's a different degree of felony. There's already a differentiation, and I believe it is. I think it's 13 here. They could have changed it. It used to be when I took the class 26 years ago or whatever. But yeah, so it varies from state to state. Yeah, these are state laws. But so when you look at it that way, there's already a different degree of penalty. And then age difference is taken into consideration here also. So usually if they're within 3 years of each other, like you can fight it in court and sometimes get it thrown out. Well, it's the law of the land where the crime occurs. Yeah, it matters because it's in the state of Texas. You have to live by Texas laws. If you cross the border into Oklahoma, you're now under the subject of the state of Oklahoma. These are different governing bodies. So yeah, the laws are different. So it's not that they're weird. It's that we have 50 different states. So unless we become one United States and get rid of the states, then yeah, everything you do is going to be subject to some local laws. You know, and just in general. But I mean, yeah. So hopefully people understood that point. But no, yeah, obviously they should still be in prison for the other. But, you know, again, unless it's like they're 2 years apart, there's a point where you go, look, dude. But then what do you go? Do you flip it if the girl is older, a year older? Does she go to jail instead of the boy? I mean, because my first time, the girl was older than me. Like my real time not being abused, she was a year older than me. So does she go to jail? Would you flatly refuse to live in the city? These days, yeah. I have no interest in living in a place that doesn't allow open carry. I choose to conceal, but I may go to open eventually. If I think I'll switch over to 1911s, I'm going to go open carry. All right. Thought about eventually just carrying like a Colt Delta Elite or something. But I do it a 19 most of the time now. It's just easily concealable. So Ruben, I mean, if we flip over to some of that, since, you know, I was 16 and she was 17, did she commit a crime? You know? All right. All right, guys, we're at 1 hour and 5 minutes in. I got to refill my coffee and get ready to squat. Man, it's almost 9 o'clock. This turned into a long, detailed conversation. So I love all you guys and gals. I hope it's been informative. I'm going to get ready to do some squatting here in a bit, and I'll talk to you next time.